Well, there's a new poll out that echoes this real big divide, particularly when it comes to the ability to create wealth or success in America. A Pew Research poll finds Democrats overwhelmingly believe a successful person is wealthy because, well, they had a lot of advantages in life. Alternatively, Republicans feel very strongly it's because successful people simply work harder. Here with us now to discuss, Adriana Cohen, reporter at the Boston Herald, Robin Byro, Democratic strategist, Tammy Bruce back with us as well. Adriana, let me start with you on this. You know, I can remember on the campaign trail when candidate Obama used to talk about this all the time, and he suggested that not all Americans could pull themselves up by the bootstraps. I've always disagreed with that.
I disagree with it strongly, too. Our country is saturated with self-made multimillionaires. I know a few of them myself. I believe success is achieved through education, quality education, and hard work, and being an entrepreneur and taking advantage of this great economy that President Trump has created. I think people of this generation have no excuse not to succeed because the economy has never been stronger. I mean, you cover this night after night, Charles, how strong our economy is. Right now, middle-class income is at its highest levels since it's ever been recorded. So the opportunities are there. There's no excuses not to succeed in this type of economy.
You know, Robin, does it come down to that? Does it come down to excuses? 22% of Democrats say it's about hard work, but 62% say it's about advantages in life and that circumstances. 69% of them say it's the circumstances that really ultimately dictate someone's outcome in life. Is that an excuse, or do you think there's a lot of legitimacy to that?
Oh, no, I think that's an excuse. And I really don't buy the argument that I'm seeing from the furthest left fringe, that the war on capitalism, basically, that I understand that, the four wealthiest people in the United States, if you divided up their income among all of Americans, everyone would be about $60,000 richer. But that's income redistribution, and that would never work.
Right.
But it's hard to get them to understand and strike that balance without being disrespectful to young people who maybe embrace some of these more democratic socialist ideas.
You know, it's interesting.
Ideals,
those same four people are probably all progressives, all self-made, and all the epitome of the American dream. But I think we owe it, Tammy, to young people, not necessarily to offend them, but to educate them before they buy into this and give themselves reasons not to succeed.
Well, look, I think, though, I'm going to be actually disagreeing with the general tone. I think that there's a combination of things. The problem with the poll, of course, is it gives you either or, right? But there really is a difference. It's which parents are at home, if you have a mentor, if you have adults who are encouraging you, if you live in an area that is rife with crime or not, if it's safe to go to school, if you're actually getting education when you go to that school. The entire environment has an impact on really what you think you can achieve and the choices you make that might be out of desperation. So look, this is clearly an issue to some degree of free will. Look, I grew up poor, lower middle class, right? I mean, there's certain struggles you make, you decide to make, or the dynamic of what interests you.
The bottom line is you can make it, but you're saying there are more hurdles for others than there are for some. Anyone can make it from anywhere in this country, though.
This is what makes this nation extraordinary and great, is that once we decide and we apply ourselves, we can do it. But we as a nation, we do think about these other things that are other hurdles that we are faced with. But this is the larger societal conversation. We get it that that an impact is had on you by these other issues, but the fact is we are still in control as individuals and must look for the help we need and then push through.
You know, Adriana, that's for me the key point here is I don't want anyone to be dissuaded.
Right.
We admit, hey, you know what? Some people do have an advantage if you're born on third base. But sometimes the advantage is not being born on third base and having a certain kind of hunger that you'll lap that person at some point in your life. Maybe not in the beginning, but somewhere along the ways, your internal hunger, your internal combustion could actually take you so much further than someone who had a big head start. And I think that's the story of America.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people have had really crummy jobs and they were motivated to work that much harder or to get an advanced degree so that they could succeed? Sometimes you could say having children of wealth don't actually succeed that much because they lack the motivation. Education is very important. I think if we want to bridge the income inequality gap, we need to focus on our failing schools, especially in urban communities. And we should also figure out how to lower the cost of college education, because that's
Right.
holding back
Right.
many people from achieving the American dream. But the economy is booming. The jobs are there. Right now, we have more jobs available than people to fill these jobs. And so there's
6.9
almost
million.
no excuse not to get off the couch
I want to give Robin
and go
the
find
last
one of
word
those
here.
jobs.
Robin, what would you do? Will the Democrats will they ever sort of articulate the idea that this is a fair country? Because it feels like their message is always sort of like, this country is against you. There are too many hurdles against
Right.
you, and that bothers me.
It bothers me too, Charles, like we said earlier, the challenge for us right now is to keep the young people engaged, not to discourage them, but show them how, and show them how they can get a better education,
Right.
and take some advantage more of our education systems and lift themselves up by their bootstraps, like
All right,
I myself did.
You did. That's right. You're a shining example of that, and you're a veteran, and we always salute you. Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Thanks, Charles.
it. Hey, higher yields and geopolitical concerns just